Good morning, class. Today we are going to continue chapter number 7, Control and Coordination. Last class we have been learned about control and coordination in animals, right? So, control and coordination in animals is carried about by or it is supported by brain and hormones, right? What about plant body? How control and coordination in plant body happens? Let us study about that now. Coordination in plants. Each and every activity of plant is controlled by hormones again, but it doesn't possess any brain. Coordination in plants. Hormones. What are hormones? Hormones are chemical substances which helps to coordinate growth, development and response to the environment. The chemical substances which are produced in plant body, even produced in animal body, are called hormones. These chemical substances helps in coordination, control and coordination, even in growth, even development and response to the environment. Let us see what are those hormones. Hormones are chemical substances produced in small quantities. But one of the hormone is auxin. These hormones are very, very important. You should learn. Auxin, what is its function? It helps in growth of a plant tissue. If plant tissue is growing, if plant is growing, then which hormone is responsible for it? It's a auxin. So in growing regions, especially root apex to shoot apex, buds, flowers, in these parts, especially in growing regions, you can see auxins. Auxin is one of the chemical substance. Next, cytokinin. Cytokinin promotes cell division. It delays aging of cells. You might have seen yellow colored leaves in a plant. It is an old leaf actually. It will fall off. It will wither off. Why? Because as it is old. But cytokinin is a hormone which controls that, which controls the formation of yellow leaves. How? By delaying aging of cells. It delays the age of a cell, aging of cell. It also promotes cell division. So cell division is the only process through which plant increases its cell number. So cell division promotion takes place only in the presence of the hormone cytokinin and even cell elongation. Next, gibberellins. Gibberellin is one of the hormone. It helps in growth of stems and initiates seed germination. If stem is growing, then which hormone is responsible for it? It's a gibberellin. It also initiates seed germination. You might have seen seed germination. There should be one hormone uh, which is helpful for seed germination. What is that hormone? It's a gibberellin. It promotes flowering. The formation of flower also takes place in the presence of gibberellin. Even cell division, cell growth after germination takes place in the presence of gibberellins. These are the functions of gibberellins. Next, abscisic acid. It's one of the growth inhibitor. Actually, plant hormones are classified into two types: growth promoters and growth inhibitors. Promoters in the sense which increases the growth of a plant. Inhibitors are which inhibits the growth of a plant. So, abscisic acid is one of the growth inhibitor. So it inhibits the growth and causes wilting of leaves. Wilting, it will fold and fall off leaves. It promotes dormancy of buds and seeds. It promotes dormancy. Dormancy means well maturation, dormant stage. So it promotes dormancy of a buds and seeds, and therefore it leads to inhibition of a plant growth. Next, ethylene. You know one thing, especially in Bangalore as well as other rural areas, uh, fruits, the raw fruits are used by few persons, and they use ethylene gas to ripe it. So artificial ripening takes place by using ethylene gas. So ethylene is one of the gaseous hormone which causes ripening of fruits. Actually, this hormone is naturally present in plant. It should naturally happen. So as humans are greedy, before ripening, they cut the fruits and they exhibit or they expose it to raw fruits into ethylene gas, and now ethylene gas ripens the fruits artificially. So this is bad for our health. Now, growth independent movements. Now, Just now we studied about plant growth or movements in plant due to hormones. Movements in the sense here growth is a direct direct process of what movement, right? Now growth independent movements, few parts of a plant will grow or will move towards something. It is not a growth. What is that? Let us see now. The movements which are not growth related are called nastic movements. One example, if you touch a touch me not plant, automatically its leaves will fold. Is this growth? No, it's a nastic movement. It is, this movement is not related to growth, but such kind of movements are called nastic movements. I repeat, the movements which are not growth related are called nastic movements. These movements occurs in response to the environmental stimulus. Here you touch the touch me not plant, right? So your touch is the stimulus from the environment. But the direction of response is not depend on the direction of a stimulus. But leaves doesn't fold towards your direction of finger, right? Your touch, right? It is always opposite or similar. Let us see now. The movements in touch me not plant is thigmostatic movement. This is thigmonastic or thigmostatic. Thigmonastic movements. The movements towards the touch. So what kind of movement it is? When you touch a touch me not plant automatically folds its leaves. So this type of movement is called thigmonastic movement. What is mean by thigmonastic movement? The movement towards the touch. Next, growth related movements in plants. Let us see growth related movements. So these movements are always growth, leads to growth. The movements which are growth related are called trophic movements. What are trophic movements? The movements which are related to growth. And the movements which are not related to growth are called nastic movements. And the movements which are related to growth are called trophic movements. These movements occur in response to the environmental stimuli again, and the direction of the response is depend on the direction of a stimulus. Say for example, if sunlight, you know sunflower, right? Sunflower or in any of the plant parts. Say for example, shoot apex, shoot tip. It always grow towards the sky. Why? Sunlight. So sunlight is a stimulus here. So plant parts grow towards the sun. So here the direction of movement is directly proportional, or it is similar to the direction of stimulus. These movements occur in response to the external stimuli, and direction of responses depends on the direction of stimulus. Example, phototrophic movement. Just now I told you plant parts grow towards the sunlight. This is called light dependent movement or phototrophic. Photo in the sense light, trophic loving or liking. So phototrophic. So growth of plant body or plant parts towards the light. Next, geotrophic. Geo in the sense earth, trophic in the sense liking or movement or growth. So geotrophic movement, gravity dependent. So always roots grows towards the earth but not away from the earth. So this is gravity dependent. Next, chemotrophic, chemical dependent. So wherever the hormones or chemicals are present in plant body, towards that chemicals, plant parts grows. This is chemostatic movement. Sorry, chemotrophic movements. Next, hydrotrophic movements. Hydro in the sense water. Wherever you pour water, few parts of a plant grow towards the water. That is called water dependent movement. Next, thigmostatic movement, touch dependent. I told you already thigmostatic. This is thigmotrophic movement. Thigmonastic is different from thigmotrophic. Thigmotrophic in the sense growth of a plant body towards the touch. Here it is the growth. But thigmonastic, response of a plant body. Thigmonastic is a response of a plant body towards the touch. Here, thigmotrophic is growth of a body towards the touch. Growth of a plant body towards the touch. Next, geotrophism. Just now I told you, movement of plant parts in response to the earth gravitational force. This is the definition of geotropism. Towards gravity, again it is classified into two types: positive geotrophism and negative geotrophism. Positive in the sense growth towards the earth or soil, negative in the sense away from the earth. Example, root always grows towards the gravity and shoot grows always against the gravity or away from the gravity. Next, phototrophism. Photo in the sense light. Movement of plant parts in response to light is known as phototrophism. Towards light again, positive phototrophism, and away from the light is negative phototrophism. Stems always grow towards the light. This is positive phototrophism. And roots move always away from the light. This is negative phototrophism. Hydrotrophism, growth of a plant body towards water. Again, it is two types: positive hydrotrophism, negative hydrotrophism. Example, root movement in search of water is positive hydrotrophism, and shoot is negative hydrotrophism. Chemotrophism, you know already this: movement of plant parts in response to chemical stimuli, called chemostropism. Again, towards the chemical, the growth of plant body towards the chemicals called chemotrophism, and the growth of a plant body away from the chemical is negative chemotrophism. The growth of pollen tube towards the ovule is positive chemotrophism. Example, what is meant by pollen tube? You know, pollen tube, when pollen grains falls on stigma, it forms a pollen tube. I will explain you about this in the next class clearly with diagram. Here, I'll give you one example. When pollen grain falls on stigma here, ovule produces few chemical substances. So this pollen tube grow towards only the ovule. Why? Because the stimulant here is a chemical produced by ovule. Next, thigmotrophism. Thigmo in the sense touch, trophism, liking. Movement of plant parts in response to touch is called thigmotrophism. And again, towards the touch is positive thigmotrophism. Away from the touch is negative thigmotrophism. Example, movement of tendrils around the support is positive thigmotrophism. Movement of tendril, you know what are tendrils? Tendrils in the sense, these are spiral like structures you might have seen in gourds, watermelon, or small plants which produces tendrils. Wherever they get support, it will attach, it forms a spring around the surface. Next, endocrine system. Endocrine in the sense, keep it in mind, chemical substances are produced in two levels. One is exocrine system, another one is endocrine system. Exocrine glands, a gland is nothing but either it may be a cell or tissue or organ. I repeat, a gland is a cell or tissue or organ which are specialized to produce chemical substances. Again, glands are classified into two types. One is exocrine gland, another one is endocrine gland. Exocrine glands possess ducts or tubes through which chemical substances reach the target organs. But endocrine system or endocrine glands, they do not possess any types of ducts. They are also called ductless glands, and they produce chemical substances directly into the blood. They release their secretion directly into the blood. Through the blood, the chemical substances reaches the target organ. So the secretions of exocrine glands are called juices, and the secretions of endocrine glands are called hormones. Example, exocrine gland is salivary gland. It possesses a duct called salivary duct and secretes its secretion directly into the mouth through the duct, salivary juice. And example, endocrine glands are thyroid gland. These are ductless glands. Produces its secretion directly into the blood. Example, thyroxine hormone. It reaches the target organ, that is during digestion or other metabolic activities. It provides thyroxine hormone to different body parts. Let us study about exocrine glands first. Exocrine glands are glands that discharge secretions by means of ducts which open into an epithelial surface. Epithelial is the outermost layer of a skin. Endocrine glands are ductless glands which secrete hormones into the bloodstream in humans. Let us study few endocrine glands. One of the endocrine gland is pituitary gland. This endocrine gland is present in brain, here in midbrain. It is pea-sized gland. It looks like pea. A pea-shaped or sized gland located at the base of the brain. Here at the base of the brain, hindbrain, not the midbrain, hindbrain. It is the master gland. Pituitary gland is also called master gland as it controls and secretions of all other endocrine glands. Why? Because why pituitary gland is called master gland? Because it controls other endocrine glands and other hormones. It secretes growth hormone. One of the secretion of pituitary gland is growth hormone. Over secretion, first under secretion in the sense lower secretion, less than the normal. If growth hormone secretes in our body less than normal, then it leads to dwarfism, and over secretion causes gigantism. A person looks like a giant, double body, double the height in children, and acromegaly in adults. In children, the lower secretion of growth leads to gigantism. In the over secretion in adults leads to acromegaly. You can see mental abnormality in acromegaly adults. Next, thyroid gland located here near the neck. It is butterfly shaped gland located in the throat. It secretes hormone called thyroxine hormone, and it regulates metabolism. Iodine is required to synthesize thyroxine in the body. In case of iodine deficiency, under secretion of thyroxine leads to goiter. In goiter patients, you can see swelling of neck. So persons are the people who lives in above the hill, I mean hilly regions. Usually they possess, or they may feel, or they may possess goiter disease. Why? Because due to the deficiency of iodine, they don't get salt. So that is why we should use iodized salt. If we use iodized salt, this iodine stimulates our thyroid gland to produce thyroxine hormone in normal levels. If there is a deficiency of iodine in our salt, then it leads to deficiency of thyroxine hormone, and that leads to what is this? Goiter. Next, pancreas. Pancreas is located below the stomach. It is a leaf-like gland present behind the stomach in the abdomen. It is one of the endocrine as well as exocrine gland. That is why the pancreas is called mixed gland. The half of the portion of pancreas produces acts as exocrine gland, remaining half acts as endocrine gland. That is why it is called mixed gland. So the exocrine gland produces pancreatic juice, and the endocrine part produces two hormones. One is insulin, another one is uh, glucagon, glucagon and insulin. An endocrine gland, it manufactures two hormones, insulin and glucagon. Both of these hormones act antagonistically and regulate the sugar level in the blood. Antagonistically in the sense, both the hormones works opposite. Say for example, if your body produces more glucose, it should be converted into glycogen. Your blood sugar level should be normal. So extra glucose or excess of glucose will be what? Converted into a polymer or polysaccharide called glycogen by insulin. Insulin converts the extra glucose into glycogen. Whenever your body produces more glucose, if your blood sugar or glucose level is more, automatically insulin acts upon it and converts them into complex sugar called glycogen or reserved food material. What about glucagon? It does opposite. Whenever your body or blood sugar level is reduced, so there is a requirement of glucose. At that time, what will happen? The reserved food material glycogen is converted into glucose by glucagon hormone. This is how insulin and glucagon, it regulates the sugar level in the blood. As an exocrine gland, it secretes enzyme. Pancreas secretes enzymes to break down the proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates. Example, pancreatic juice. Insufficient amount of insulin from the patient or pancreas leads to diabetes. What is the function of insulin? Converts the excess of glucose. Very, very important question. You should learn the function of insulin and glucagon. Repeatedly asked question. Insulin converts extra glucose into glycogen. Excess of, if your blood possesses excess of what? If the blood concentration, if the blood glucose concentration is more, insulin acts upon this glucose and converts them into say for example, this is one glucose, second glucose, third glucose. It just joins all the glucose and forms a glycogen. A combination of so many glucose molecules are called glycogen. This is the function of insulin. So if insulin doesn't produce in your body properly, then what will happen? Automatically your body glucose level will be more. There is no insulin hormone to convert the excess of glucose into glycogen. Now your blood sugar level is more. This condition is also called diabetes or sugar, commonly called sugar patient, diabetes patients. So in hospitals, they what they do, they give insulin hormone or insulin hormone tablets or pills. Next, adrenal gland. Now let's study about adrenal gland. It occurs in, what are adrenal glands? First of all, adrenal glands are the glands, endocrine glands present above the kidney. If it is a kidney, adrenal glands are present above the kidney like this. These are triangular structures present above the kidney. This is adrenal gland. So it occurs in pairs above each kidney. It decreases in size. It decreases in size with age. Automatically with age, what will happen? Its size becomes decreased or it will constrict. It secretes the hormone adrenaline. What are the functions of adrenal gland? It secretes hormones called adrenaline, which helps in flight or fight response. Adrenaline hormone is also called fight or flight hormone. What is it by fight or flight? I will give you one example. If you are walking in a road, if you see a snake or a mad dog is running behind you, what you do? Either you take a stone or you pick up a stick and hit it. Either you fight with it or you will run. That is flight. So during emergency situation, adrenaline hormone is released from adrenal gland and it gives you either flight capacity, you go away, or fight capacity, or you fight with it. That is why it is also called fight or flight hormone or emergency hormone. Also secretes noradrenaline. There are two hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline. It helps in fight and flight. One more example. If you are feeling sleepy in your class, suddenly, if your teacher calls your name, what you do? Suddenly, your body starts sweating, or your body becomes cool, or you can see piloerection. Piloerection in the sense rising of hairs on your hand or body. So these are the symptoms of adrenaline hormone. So during that situation, what will happen? Your body produces adrenaline hormone. So it increases all these situations or all these symptoms, and also increases heartbeat especially. This is a major symptom. How you come to know whether adrenaline is released or not in your body? If you face all these symptoms, then you can say that adrenaline is released by adrenal gland. Next, gonads. Gonads in the sense sex organs. Male gonads. There are two types of sex organs or gonads. One is male gonad, another one is female gonad. Male gonad is testis, female gonad is ovary. Testis and ovary produces gametes. Testis produces sperm. Sperm is one of the male gamete. And female gonad, that is ovary, produces ova or egg. It is a gamete of female reproductive system. Gonads are the gamete producing organs, testes in males and ovaries in females. The testes produce male hormones testosterone. What is the function of testes? It produces even the hormone testosterone. Here testes and ovary are not only sex organs, they also act as endocrine glands. So testis as an endocrine gland, along with sperm, it also produces testosterone hormone. Ovaries along with ova, it also produces or releases hormones called estrogen and progesterone. Testosterone and estrogen helps in producing gametes and are responsible for sexual characteristics in males and females respectively. What are the functions of testosterone in male and estrogen in female? It helps in the production of gametes and also responsible for secondary sexual characteristics like development of mammary glands in females, development of beard and mustache in males, and development of hair in private parts and even armpits, etc. Progesterone is also called pregnancy hormone, helps in maintenance of pregnancy. Other endocrine glands in our body are hypothalamus, parathyroid hormone, pineal gland and thymus gland. This is about this chapter. Go through this video. If you have any doubts, we will discuss in live class. Thank you.